Here are some quotes. "Woe to you, teachers of the law, and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You travel over land and sea to win a single convert, and when he becomes one, you make him twice as much a son of hell as you are." Reconciler Gospel of Thomas, verse 34. Jesus said, "If a person who is blind tries to lead another person who is blind, they will both fall into the hands of the liar. Awaken so that you might see. By being awake and being able to see, you in turn can lead those who are still blinded. Awaken those who are still caught in their own nightmares." Welcome to the Church of Thomas. Hospitality, 6:4:10. I think it's important to understand that as global warming progresses, and as the acts of war and humans and nature, there will be more refugees. As our world becomes more crowded, the places for these refugees to go is going to become harder to find. One of the things that I saw was that after Hurricane Katrina, I was in Galveston. We had not been hit by a hurricane at that point. Rita was still a year off. There were many people, many denominations and many congregations who, in their charitable hospitality feeling towards Katrina evacuees, were more than welcoming and opened the gyms and set up cots and helped them set up shower facilities and arranged for support systems and social services to talk with these people. But I saw a tendency of them to think in terms of this being a temporary thing. I tried to explain to them that because of the kind of damage that had been done in Katrina, many of these people were never going back where they came from. After a while, I noticed that there was a little bit of resentment starting to creep into the hospitality. And it was basically, okay, they're all here, they're all taking our resources, we gave freely, but how come they're still here? It's important to understand that as time goes on, people will need to be flexible. If they become hospitable in the first place, they need to understand that these people may never be leaving. When Rita hit, there wasn't a mass evacuation. A lot of the areas that it was hit were smaller towns. It wasn't a direct hit on Galveston or Houston. It had a glancing blow to us, and we didn't have a lot of damage. However, it did hit a little bit to the east of there. So there are a lot of towns that are still trying to recover and may take many more years to try and recover. So there wasn't a mass evacuation then. But then Hurricane Ike happened a couple of years later. Now that was a different story. That relocated a great number of people. It scared a lot of people into thinking in terms of, I don't want to go back there. It's a death trap. And the people that do go back are going to be paying huge amounts in insurance. So the people who go back are probably going to be wealthy and have other homes that they can go to during another hurricane evacuation. So a lot of the infrastructure people who do lower paying jobs, the support structure basically of the island, are going to have a hard time finding housing that they can afford. Well, where did these people go? Where did the Katrina evacuees go? Well, they went to Houston. They went to northeast Texas. Some of them went to Oklahoma. Some of them went all over the United States in small groups. A lot of them are staying. They're not going back to New Orleans. And many of the people from Galveston are not going back to Galveston either. There will be more hurricanes. Now there's Haiti. Huge evacuation of people from there. Chile. Probably not going to see a whole lot of evacuees from there, mostly because it's so far away. But the countries surrounding it are going to see evacuations. The support structure for these people needs to be well thought out. Because if you are just thinking, okay, couple of weeks, we'll be hospitable, we'll be nice, we'll do what we're supposed to do, but then we want them to go on home. You know, guests are only supposed to stay for 3 days or they start stinking, sort of thing. Well, a different mindset may be important to embrace at this time, because there are millions and millions of people that live within 50 miles of the coasts of our oceans, and they're not going to be sustainable. New Orleans is going to be underwater. Galveston probably won't be underwater for a while, but the West End will be. Houston, which floods in a small little sprinkle, is going to flood a lot more. It's built on a swamp. It will go under at some point. A good bit of Louisiana, a lot of the Gulf Coast, many countries in Europe are right on the border with the shore. All these places are going to be impacted by the rising tides and fiercer storms. We need to start thinking in terms of the future for these people. Instead of people moving pell-mell to as close to the water as they can, we need to start having that as a buffer zone instead of it being the place where everybody wants to live. There is a quote about hospitality I'd like to read. This is Reconciler, Gospel of Thomas, verse 58. Blessed is the person who has suffered. In the suffering find the lesson that is hidden in it, and finding the lessons, acquire life. There's a favorite saying of mine, and it is, anything done without love is tainted. If you can welcome people for 2 weeks with open arms and an open heart, can you find it in your heart to welcome them for the rest of their lives? It's something we all need to consider. God bless the whole world, no exceptions. Angel Eliza.